Bitterness is bondage, and don't let the enemy convince you otherwise. Today, I'd like to talk about breaking the bondage of bitterness. Unforgiveness creeps into our lives, and we often dismiss it in the name of avoiding conflict. But it is a dangerous window for the enemy to come in to our lives and grab a hold of us. Rather than walking in God's love and forgiveness, bitterness chooses to walk in hatred and judgment. This is something that I allowed to plague my life and how I viewed people for years until the Lord brought me freedom. And I believe that the Lord has that same freedom for anyone today who will humble themselves, die to their pride, and receive his love. There was a time when I grew distant from a friend because I felt deeply hurt and offended. And instead of coming to her, reconciling, I chose to hold on to bitterness. And this was a regular pattern in my life. I noticed affecting not only my thoughts towards her, but the things that I was saying behind her back and even to her face. Because one thing about bitterness is that it loves to get other people in on it so that we feel justified in our hatred. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. And what was in my heart was not love, but bitterness. So what's in your heart today? The Lord convicted me and told me to apologize to her, and immediately my pride resisted. I was like, I'm the one who deserves the apology after what she did. But after I finally obeyed and apologized and reconciled with her, I left filled with the joy of obedience and feeling reconciled with my sister until shortly after I started to replay the conversation in my mind. And I started to think, wait a minute. She accused me of this and that, but she has no right because she's done this to other people. And I felt this interruption in my thoughts. Abigail, you only know that because you gossiped. Abigail, you're insisting on your own way. You're keeping record of wrongs. And the Lord brought me to 1 Corinthians 13 where love is described. And I prayed, Lord, I want to love this daughter of yours the way that you love her, the way that you love me. I don't want to insist on my own way or keep record of wrongs. I want to believe all things, hope all things, bear all things, endure all things, because that's what you've done for me. And in that moment, something broke off of my heart. I didn't care who was right or wrong in that moment because I knew that in the grand scheme of eternity, I had won back my eternal sister, and that's what mattered. I struggled with unforgiveness for years, and what finally broke this bondage off of my life wasn't my own willpower, but it was his love. This matters because reconciliation is our calling. 2 Corinthians 5:19 says, in Christ, God was reconciling the world to himself, not counting their trespasses against them, and entrusting to us the message of reconciliation. That message of reconciliation means not just reconciling people back to the Lord, but also having reconciliation with one another as part of the family of God. The enemy would love nothing more than to tear apart the family of God and bring division to his body. But Jesus prayed that his church, us as believers, would be one. And we get to live that out by walking in love and forgiveness. In John 13:34, Jesus commands, just as I have loved you, you are also to love one another. By this, all people will know that you are my disciples. If we're looking to the cross, if we're looking to Christ as our example of what love should look like, his love looks like forgiveness on the cross. Will the world know that we are his disciples by the way that we love and forgive one another? So how do we actually have this break off of our lives? How do we break the bondage of bitterness? I have 3 points for you, and all starts with considering the cross and Christ's forgiveness. We need to remind ourselves of the love and forgiveness that he has for us. He has forgiven you. He's forgiven me. And you don't have to earn when you're under his blood, and neither does your brother or sister. The cross reminds us of our position as the forgiven when we try to step up into this position of judge. The next step is confrontational conversations. We may be tempted to say, well, I don't really need to bring that up, or, I'll just get over it. But then we turn around and we start gossiping or building silent resentment in our heart towards that person, pitting others against them. Or in the name of keeping the peace, we actually overlook God's command to make every effort to live in peace with one another. And those difficult conversations is part of that making every effort. In Matthew 18, Jesus even tells us that we are to go to our brother who has wronged us. Finally, we have to choose to forgive. In Matthew 18, 21 through 35, a master forgives his servant's debt, thus saying, "You don't owe me anything." And that is what we get to say when we choose to forgive. You don't owe me your unhappiness. You don't owe me revenge. You don't owe me failure in your life because of what you did to me. You don't owe me anything anymore. I release it. I let it go. Let us not be like the servant who received forgiveness and then refused to forgive others. We don't get to decide what someone else deserves because we have been the beneficiaries of the mercy and grace of God. And we sure aren't getting what we deserve. So ask the Lord, "Lord, help me consider your cross. Show me your love for me and your forgiveness, and help me to view others not in the lens of my pride, my hurt, or my judgment, but through the lens of your cleansing blood." Thank you.